Overheating. What can Canon learn from Sony? Rumour has it Sony has the secret. Let's look into that. A quick look at the internet shows us that Sony have a long history of overheating cameras. Now, they've always had time to work on this as well. I'm not decrying Sony. They were pushing the boundaries back then. But it did take them some time to get to a fix. And meanwhile, a lot of users found their own workarounds and things that worked for them. Most of these workarounds involve fairly basic tricks like removing the battery, or should I say replacing the battery with a fresh one so that it wasn't already warm when you put it into the camera. Also, the screen in the back, if you just give some clearance between that and the body to allow heat to dissipate, and obviously using shade wherever you could. There's even people suggesting wet towels and ice packs and stuff like that. Hopefully we don't have to go to those extremes though. However, the big thing that Sony did at that time was introduce a firmware fix, and that firmware introduced a setting in the camera that allowed you to increase the maximum temperature and that the camera would see before it went into shutdown mode. Quite what that temperature is, I don't know, and I don't know what impact it has on the sensor or potentially the life of the camera. I did try and find out, and I dug through a Sony help site, and it talks about different temperatures and timelines for filming, 20 degrees, 30 degrees and 40 degrees C, but there's no mention of what your limit changes by when you implement that fix. Now it does say that power off temperature is set to high depending on conditions or temperatures in the camera. Recordable time in movies may change. So this seems to be their main fix. Now, I'm aware that in the redesign of this camera they claimed that they designed it from the ground up and that they had built it with passive cooling. They made a big feature of this, so one would expect that the camera won't fail. Dan Watson, a YouTuber, put out a couple of videos on this. He came in for a lot of criticism in doing so. He tested the R5 against the A7S III, and he said they were both very capable cameras and fit for purpose. However, his testing showed very similar cut-off times due to heat in both cameras. Due to criticism of his early test, when he ran the test again he did use the high temperature setting. Now I'm unclear what impact that might have on the sensor life or on the overall well-being of the camera, but some YouTubers and bloggers have been advocating using that setting. Gerald Undone tweeted about this, and I think it was in response to what Dan Watson had been doing, and he's saying that regarding the A7S, if you see any overheating tests that don't have the temperature setting in the menu to high, ignore them. That goes for previous Sony cameras with that option as well. In here he seems to be advocating allowing the camera to go over temperature. As I say, I can't find any literature that states what that over temperature condition is, and I can't say for definite what impact that may have, but it does raise the question regards Canon setting. Have Canon been too conservative at what level they give this warning? And understand from various users that the camera itself doesn't feel particularly warm when they get the warning. Remember, one of the headline claims on the Canon release, 8K capability, one of the headline claims with the Sony release was that it had passive cooling and they had addressed the overheating. It's unfortunate that some tests have demonstrated that the Sony does still overheat, especially when Sony touted that they had designed this camera from the ground up to minimise the potential for overheating. Some recent rumours suggest that Canon are aware of the issue and they are looking at it. There's still opportunity for them to do something. They could easily release a firmware update that allowed a higher temperature inside the camera. That's what Sony have done in the past. Also, there's time yet for Sony to make changes because their cameras are in the market until September, so they do have some time still to make changes. So all in all, after all the scrutiny, let's hope it means that we get better products in our hands when they do a chip, or at least very soon after. I appreciate the time you've spent with me today, if you've watched this long. And please comment below and give me some advice, or tell me what you'd like to see me do differently. I'm fairly new to filming, as you can tell. That's not my skill. And if anyone can suggest how I can improve things, I'm quite happy to listen and see what I can do. But thanks again. Bye.